I think welcome back. Day 7 for our SDET training. But unfortunately, I have a technical glitch. More in terms of this GoToWebinar link was not there as a reminder to all the members. So maybe you've all assumed that there's no session today. So I don't want to do a vast one because we had a good one yesterday, and we were, working on a couple of applications on how we can go automating them. So today we're going to continue on the same directions team, but now we're going to step more towards understanding our AnyAUT as a tool. What are the automation frameworks that it revolves around? The thumb rules of an automation framework. I don't know if I mentioned this earlier in the program. The basically efficiency, reusability, and accuracy. Efficiency. All right. So some of this, and we need to talk a little bit about what we're doing. Since we don't have too many members team, I'll take a very short session and more on the concepts of the direction in which we're going. Okay, let me take one more. This is objects coming into objects. I'll just put it there, be there for us. All right. So, team, what I'm trying to explain is the overall story once again. All right. So remember one thing, we have the group of users, and out here we have right from the management, leadership, developers, QA, BAs, all of them sitting, the human resources. And the whole effort for them, and I'm talking about the IT team of it. We're not talking about the business or sales team of a client, the IT team, which is interested in the software application. Their whole objective is to work and build on an application. So that app is their focus point, and everything that we want to do on that app is critical. Now, what has happened is then came the concept of this release cycles, where we said app has a version 1 and app will go to version 2, and app will go to version 3. And each time I need to keep testing, and there could be changes from one to the other in terms of the scope. So I need to be testing the same stuff over and over. The old functionality, the new functionality, and any changed functionality or deleted. I cannot leave. Okay? Saying that is when I can say, oh, you know what, that application went through a whole life cycle of testing. Now, when we talk about the QA teams, we talk about agile environments of teams. When we're using an agile methodology, we talk about a shorter sprint cycle, basically an SDLC cycle. SDLC, we're referring to more like a waterfall, which could be for 6 months. And sorry, I'm writing onto the same, I'll come to a different picture in short. But agile could be something between 1 to 2 weeks usually. Standard, okay? So what does that mean? The gap here from A1 to A2, A2 to A3 is a 2 weeks period. In that time, this entire team is so focused on these activities to make sure that nothing will fail as they go to the next thing. So we are constantly being pushed into our limits team that, okay, you know what, we cannot relax anymore. Now, this becomes our regression in an agile environment. Now, in this picture, what is most important is this application. The whole focus every time, if you look at, is app. A1, A2, A3, the versions is to the app and so on. So now what we're saying is the application is the main focus. So we're getting focused more into what we want. And in this case, I don't want every human. I want the QA team to be involved or involved. Now my application has evolved into being an application under test before it goes into production to the customer and so on. So if my application under test is there and we go through version changes, all the scope of that functionality, I need to be definitely a functional expert. Someone who knows how that application works. How do I mean? For example, let us say you work for a company like anything, you take any application. I was actually working with QA on it for something else. Let us say you work for, instead of QA on it, let's say elance.com was there. I don't know if elance.com is still doing it or became Upwork. So see, it's very similar to QA on it. And where we are saying you can go and find professionals and agencies. All right. What was I trying to say, team? Functional expert. So you need to really focus on this word. Know the app AUT in and out. Not just how it is supposed to work, but also who is doing what or responsible and how data security, QA deployments happen, because I will rely on you. So for example, if this is an application, I know that you're such an expert that if I say, okay, you know what, let's say, Pinky, if you need to go to, can you go to operations? If I say, Pinky, so there's an issue in operations. Pinky wouldn't ask me back saying that, hey, where is operations? Is it here? Is it here? Because she's not a beginner in it. She knows exactly. She'll go to solutions and come down to the department and go to operations. All right, I have here, I see, oh, you know what, I can see there's an issue. Oh, you know what, I don't know what it is, but tell me what else can we do about it. So that depth of understanding as soon as we see what is happening on the application. The second one is a pixel level of how do we say, ownership. It's very simple, team. When I look at a image, let us say this is how I'm expecting to see my application, right? And I do not have a user story. User story means how we write officially, how a functionality is specifically behaving for a specific user and so on. I don't have any documentation. I don't have a test case, no requirements document, no SRS. All of this are not coming in here. So then what do? But I can able to see that if everything is right or not, just by observing that application, that no one can take away from you. And that's your functional expertise. That is what you bring to the table as a quality app, functional expert. And team, for me, you're someone who's an expert in a lot of these things that I'm teaching you. I want you to really pick up on them. All right. Now, a QA engineer is going to do manual testing. So if I have release 1, release 2, release 3, if I have, let us say it took me 120 hours of testing for release 1. How much will it take me in manual testing for release 2, team? For next release, how much should it take me for manual testing? It took me 120 hours for the first one. An application, I got it up. Now next one, I have to test it. It's not development. Remember this. Manually test it. Everything. I'm looking for answers from the audience. Why team? Why so uninterested or non-involving? I need quick answers from everyone. I wish you're all in a physical class with me. Right. The answer is more than 120, 120 plus, maybe double, maybe 240. We do not know. But definitely it will be 120 plus. So I know that here it will be maybe 140 or 150. And the next one, it's going to go to 180 because it is just piling up. What does it mean? First, I had to only check for sign in, sign up functionality. Next, login came up. Next came forgot password. Next came login sign up dashboard. How should it look? Next came feature 1, feature 2. So what is happening as we go about like this? Same with think of WhatsApp team. Every time think of the same thing as it came only with chat, then it added voice or maybe group chat, then voice, then broadcast, then video and so many things, right? And group voice. It never happened on the one day. Now the same happens when it comes to testing, that even if I go into functionality 2, I'm in a version number 27.81. Even at this version, I still have to make sure my sign up, login, forgot password, dashboard, all of this are also functioning correctly. Otherwise, the critical errors, the showstoppers for us. That becomes an issue thus in a manual testing, where your effort is increasing. So now comes our automation options team. So we are evaluating, and I want to talk about the automations. So what remains still? What is common is our AUT team. See, the application is continuing to get going into the next and next zones. The manual tester will never go. Remember this and believe this. It can never happen because a manual tester is a functional expert. A robot is not a functional expert until a manual tester teaches that robot. All right. So that is one option. Manual. And I'll go do it. The pros and cons. I'll observe. I'll make sure if I'm a great manual tester, look at this. If I'm a great manual tester, the positive things will get better results. If I'm a bad manual tester, then I'm getting bad results. You understand what I'm saying, team? I'll give the same testing. Let us say they put you into the job and they put me. You do a much better job because you're a better tester, and I don't do a better job than you. So that is dependent on the human. Remember that. Manual QA is human dependent. So there are high chances to discover or even invent a hero or a zero. Someone who's sometimes saving this top and sometimes someone who's not able to. Now I have another option. My option 2 is Selenium IDE. Okay. You know, the beauty about this is if I write my tests here, this issue is resolved by Selenium 1 or Selenium 2, not version 1 team. User 1 using Selenium, user 2 using Selenium or whatever will give us always the same results. Cell IDE will always give the same result irrespective of which user is running it. The effort or smartness goes into creating these tests. All right, so that's good. Then I can maintain them all here. Then why do I need something like third option of WebDriver? Primarily, it's very simple, team. Selenium IDE is connecting to the application, and the main thing for element identification is all that it's looking at the DOM, document object model. I don't want you to remember the interview questions yet. Remember the concepts for now. But the important thing there is it is interacting with the browser and it is passing the commands onto it. Now, WebDriver does exactly the same thing. However, in Selenium IDE, you will write your tests in a simple table, correct? Where you had a command, a target, and a value. Is the Selenium IDE still open? Like this. So you write a command, target, value, and everything would come out here for you. This is where you maintain. But when it comes to WebDriver with Selenium, we will need to use programming there. That is where I will say that, hey, I can use Java or Python or C# or Ruby and JavaScript and so on. So few languages that will fit into it. What are the advantages between 2 and 3? A bunch of them that we will come to it. So there are 3 options to test our application so far. 1, 2, 3. Now there are tools like UFT, and that also can do a great job. There are other third regression testing tools which do it. Our focus on Selenium IDE is primarily also because it is very popular. It has got the popularity because you can work with multiple programming languages. You can program and change it the way you want. It is open source team, so you have the liberty to do what you want. Now there is UFT out here, team. That's micro focus, and that's another tool that does very similar. We will look at it. We have seen some executions yesterday. Now we are saying why we're going into this. Then comes other tools called SaaS products. Software as a service. In software as a service, what happens is you basically give that whole thing to something like, for example, browser stack.com. So it is a place where you can create tests, record tests, maintain tests, and execute tests on virtual machines directly from their applications. Similarly, there are applications like saucelabs.com which do that. And we are seeing a mushroom of QA companies and automation products that are coming into the market. The intent is very simple. How quickly, how easily and defect-free can we get products into the client's hand? That's their whole intent. So instead of doing it, so this will give you very, very limited exposure to IDE. We will see where it limits ourselves and how we cannot go forward beyond it. I don't have too many people here today, so I'm just taking a very basic topic. And then we have the other tool called AnyAUT, which is also doing something similar for us. What does AnyAUT do? I want to talk about that and the advantages that you have once again with AnyAUT. AnyAUT is primarily a test automation framework. It's not a test automation tool or service or something. It's all built with framework in mind. So if you go to AnyAUT.com, the whole crux of it is been built into the product, which when executed will run the entire thing. So if you remember, I was talking about the AnyAUT Excel runner, in which if I give a demo.xls or any Excel with that format, it will go about doing that execution. So for us, AnyAUT helps to write tests using web UI or Excel, write and maintain. And then you can execute on local or remote using CI/CD. So with AnyAUT certified tester, you will basically be mastering also the Selenium IDE. You cannot avoid to do that. More of element identification than what IDE does, because we'll have to go forward. With AnyAUT certified developer, you will primarily be doing work on Java. Of course, you'll do a little bit advanced Java also, OOPS and all that. We will work on frameworks, concept on frameworks. Before that, Selenium WebDriver, then frameworks, and then CI/CD. Actually, CI/CD can be avoided to the next one. So, team, did the execution happen? I don't know. I think it's executing something. It's trying to do something out here. And how the whole code is being written in the backend is something that I want you to experience, JPACT members, and see it and try and look at what we can do more on it. For the beginner ones, what we're going to be focusing on is take this demo.xl, learn what is there, where it is, how we can create and write this in that Excel sheet. That's what we will do. So that's going to be next. And I want to do some assignments. CI/CD is continuous integration and continuous delivery for deployment. We will talk about. This is where we will use a lot of Jenkins, GitHub, also Maven. Concepts by itself. GitHub is one tool. Team, I don't have anything else. I have a Python class also starting in the next few minutes. And the reason I'm not taking an extended class today is the GoToWebinar expired. So I need to set up the new links for all of you and share them across. Once I do that, I think we should be good. Anything for me for today, team? It's just to introduce you where we are going on the automation. So manual testing, we're doing little Selenium. WebDriver, we will be coming later, team. So our path is very simple. We're going in almost the same mode. Where? Here. So this is going to take us a few days, couple of years. And we will do this in that order. Assignment on demo.excel is very simple. It's not yet told, but I'll tell you, team. What I want to do is very simple. In the earlier session, I told you all to download AnyAUT Excel, correct? And you would have something like this. Now, this Excel sheet is built for one specific application. What you could do is change that to our application by looking at certain data here. But to understand what is where, it'll take us one class and I'll teach that to you. So now that we know little basics of Selenium IDE and how automation is working with the command target value, we're going to write the same test in Selenium IDE and in AnyAUT. That is what we will be doing. Then it will become clear. So once we write in Selenium IDE, we will replicate the same in AnyAUT Excel. So that's it from my side. I'm going to end the session for today because also I didn't get all of them into it. There's 8-9 of us. I'll see you back tomorrow mostly, or maybe we'll have to, I don't know. Is it okay if I do this class at 5:30 Pacific? I could try to make it at 5:30. Let me see. I'll take a few polls. I need to decide with my offshore team as well. All right, everyone. That's it from my side. We'll see you all back tomorrow. Bye now.